Hello everyone, my name is Molly and this is my story. So, when I was just a couple of days old, my parents noticed that something was wrong because I wasn't eating and I was sleeping all the time, like more than normal babies should. So they took me to the doctor, and my mom mentioned that they had heard a heart murmur at birth, which is actually very common in babies and usually doesn't result in anything. But the doctor listened to me for a long time and told my mom I was in heart failure and that she needed to take me to the hospital immediately. So my parents drove me there, and that's where they found out that I had coarctation of the aorta. So your heart, it pumps blood, it's like it goes through the right side into the lungs, back into the left side, and then it goes out to the rest of your body through this huge artery called the aorta. So that's why I was like not doing anything, was because my heart was working so hard to pump all this blood through a very, very narrow opening. And so they decided that they were going to do surgery on me when I was like 10 or 11 days old. And so I was the third baby scheduled for surgery, but actually my heart stopped and I had a cardiac arrest in the hospital, and so they brought me back, and realized that I needed surgery sooner than they thought. And so actually the baby that was supposed to go before me, the doctors talked to the parents and asked if I could go into surgery before their child, and they said yes. Praise the Lord. I wish I knew them so I could tell them thank you. So at 10 days old, I had my first heart surgery through my back, where they cut out the section that was narrow and they sewed it together, but they put a stent in there because of the chances of my aorta re-narrowing, which it does over time. And about every 5 years, I have to have a procedure called a cardiac cath done, where they just take a little wire in through an artery and they go up, and there's a device attached to it, and it goes in and it just opens it up, called ballooning, and it just opens it up to where it should be again, which is like super easy thing. So I had that done when I was 10 days old, and I'm not sure if it was there that they discovered, but they saw that one of my heart valves was not working well at all. My mitral, also called bicuspid valve, it's the valve between the top and bottom chambers on the left side of your heart. But they said that my heart was too small, even for the smallest mechanical valve that they had. And I guess I was still able to function, so they didn't feel like it was something that needed to be done right away. But that gave my mom a choice to either allow me to learn how to breathe on my own or eat on my own, but my heart wasn't strong enough to let me do both. And I'm so thankful that my parents decided to let me learn how to breathe on my own, because now I can understand that I probably would have been on a breathing machine for a while, and know that it's really hard to get children off of breathing machines. So I'm very grateful my mom made the choice for that. But I had to have a feeding tube. I had one in my belly, so I have 2 belly buttons, which is fun. So I ate through a feeding tube for a very long time, and it didn't get removed until I was 6. So I actually didn't learn how to eat until I was 6 years old. And so I never associated hunger with oh, I need to eat. It was really hard. I would take 2 bites of my dinner and say I was completely done. I hated eating. It would take me 2 to 3 hours to eat, just a simple thing. But I always loved when I had soup, because then I could drink it and it would only take 1 hour instead of 2. So that was just kind of a hard time, but I love to eat now, praise the Lord. Anyway, so the doctor said my heart was too small for the smallest valve, but by the time I was 9 months, they decided that they were gonna go ahead and open me up and just try to see if this valve would fit, because basically either they tried it or I was gonna die. Just like crazy. Every time I say it, it's just insane. Yeah, so I was 9, almost 10 months, and they wheeled me back there, opened me up, they did not think that this was going to work at all. Like, they thought they were going to be like, doesn't work, close me back up, and basically probably tell my family they had limited time with me. But by the miracle of Jesus, this valve fit into my heart. Like, they were like so certain that it was not going to fit, and it totally did. Which is insane. And because of that, they were able to put it into the heart of a 4-month-old not long after me, because they're like, this fits in tiny hearts, which is absolutely amazing. But just because I was fixed, it didn't mean that my journey was over. Yeah, it was still a lot of like really tough things, and because I have a mechanical valve, I have to be on a medication called a blood thinner, which thins your blood, just because it's less chance of clotting and all this stuff. But I like bruise really, really easily because of it, and one of the biggest concerns was like if I hit my head really hard, I would be bleeding inside, like internally. So growing up, like I couldn't play sports, I couldn't ice skate, I couldn't go roller skating, which almost sounds like silly, but like when all your friends are doing it, like you want to do that too. Yeah, and I have to like have my blood drawn, and I would still be going for appointments all the time, like checkups, all these things, because eventually like I would need to replace, and I had my second open heart surgery when I was 15 to replace it with an adult valve, so no more for me, praise the Lord. But anyway, let's fast forward to middle school, because that's where the next part of my testimony starts. Yeah, by the time I was in like third to fifth grade range, I started to feel very alone, because there was nobody at my school with a heart problem or any kind of chronic illness at all that I knew about, and so everyone around me was normal except me, and I always knew that God worked things together for good, but I would be so like upset, and I'd be like, God, why did you do this to me? Why did you make me this way? I don't know how any of this will be used for your good. I was very upset, and I was always focusing on the things I couldn't do, and I would get invited to my friends' roller skating birthday parties, and I literally couldn't roller skate. I just had to sit there and watch everybody have fun. It was just really hard. And the thing I wanted to do the most was go to camp with my cousin, because she would always talk about how fun it was, but because like my mom just didn't trust them to know how to handle my medications and like what happens if I get hurt. So every year she would tell me no. Yeah, and I would just be like, oh, look at all these things I can't do. Like, I felt just like a big defect walking around, and I'm not kidding you, I literally thought I was the one single person in the whole world with a heart condition. Like, that's how alone I felt, and like nobody in the world understood what I was going through. So it was really difficult. I could never go outside for recess because if I get hit in the head or something, so I would just be sitting at lunch, and God bless the amazing janitor who's friends with my grandpa. He'd always sit with me. Amen. God bless. He would always come and hang with me. Yeah, so that was fun. And kids would ask me questions about like why I couldn't do stuff, and I was like, I don't know. And like I hated looking at my scar in the mirror because it felt like it was taunting me. But now it's like, I can't really see it that well, but it's so cool. I think it's the coolest thing in the whole world. Anyway, so that was middle school. Till one glorious day, I came home from school towards the end of my 5th grade year, and my mom was like, guess what? You're going to camp. And I was like, no freaking way. She's finally letting me go to Camp Ondasog with my cousin. But the Lord had something more amazing. The St. Louis Children's Hospital, my home, where I was a lot of the times, I love it there. It was always vacation for me. I was like, stick an IV in me, that's fine. I got pizza and TV. They were starting a camp for children with heart conditions, and I was like, that means that there's literally other children in the world with heart conditions. And it completely changed my life. I remember getting there and seeing the other children. I was like, oh my gosh, like, it's not just me. There's other people in the world. And just being around children who understood my life and what it was like living with CHDs, and just like things that are like really hard, and like they understand, like, if I walk up a flight of stairs, I'm exhausted, and I'm not being dramatic. My heart just isn't working the greatest. So it was absolutely incredible, and it was cool to see how they're choosing to live their life with a lot of joy, especially because, like, I got to meet other kids who had a lot worse conditions than I did and had to go through so much more, and just how they were so joyful and just loved life despite all of it. And it was just nice to finally have someone who understood what it was like. And like since that summer, I came back, I felt like a whole new kid. Like, I would focus on all the things I love to do instead of all the things I couldn't do. And I was like, I don't even like sports anyway. I love playing in band. Like, I'm just gonna keep doing it. Like, it was absolutely such a blessing. And it's just become like a family to me. But I basically have a community of friends who have sick bodies. Like, we're not normal. We're not always well. And so we've actually lost a lot of our friends from the camp just because of just things that happen so suddenly. And yeah, it's been really tough. And the first time I lost a friend was the beginning of my freshman year of high school. And it was just devastating for all of us. And unfortunately, that wasn't the last time that happened. And yeah, I think when I got into college, I think I like lost one friend like every year for like 3 years. And I was just like, I accepted it as my new normal, that I was gonna lose someone important to me every year. So like at the beginning of each year, I'd be like, who's it gonna be this year? I was like, you just never know. So yeah, that was my life for a couple years, and just having a lot of fear and anxiety, like anytime someone from camp would call me, because it was always so sudden that you never really got the chance to go see a person. You would just get a call like, hey, like something happened and so passed away. And it was really difficult. And even within the past 2 years, I've lost 3 people who were very, very important to me. And there was one point where I literally told the Lord, I was like, I honestly don't think I'm ever going to experience joy or happiness ever again. And I was like, the Lord just totally came in. And it says in the Beatitudes, blessed are those who mourn, for they shall be comforted. Can you imagine the creator of the world coming down and comforting you? So I'm sharing all this with you because not only has the Lord like worked so much in my life, like with all my hard stuff, but he's given me just a heavenly amount of joy. Yeah, and I've learned that joy and happiness are not the same thing, and that you can still have and choose joy even when you don't feel happy, when you're going through a really hard time. Yeah, when my dad sometimes tries to talk about everything I went through, and he always says, you know, you've just been through so much, but it honestly doesn't feel like it, because I had an amazing support system. My family was always there. I was never by myself. And honestly, I did not mind being in the hospital. It was not like a big deal for me. I was like, needles don't scare me. I don't care if you put an IV in me. I'm gonna get some pizza, some ice cream, watch a movie. Like, it never felt like it was anything crazy. So I hope my story encourages you, and this is just a condensed version, or at least as condensed as I can get. And if you want to hear more, I'd love to share it with you. But yeah, the Lord is amazing, and He's just done so much for me, and I will just praise Him forever for all He's done. So I just want to encourage you that if you're going through something really hard, if you draw near to the Lord, He will so draw near to you. He's with you. Yeah. So thank you for taking the time to hear my story, and I hope you have an amazing week filled with so much love, joy, and blessings. Love you all.